Hello, my name is Naima, and I did my informative speech on the history of the cesarean section. So, have you ever heard someone say the baby is a miracle or it is a miracle after someone has given birth? That term actually came from the early 1700s when little was known about childbirth and complications were high, mortality rates were high, infections were high, and transmittable diseases were especially high. So for a baby and a mother to be both alive after birth, it was literally a miracle. So around the late 1700s, according to one estimate, not a single woman survived a cesarean section in Paris between 1787 and 1876. And this was because surgeons believed that after the procedure was done, that the uterus would essentially contract itself. The muscles would contract and it would bring itself back together. So a lot of women actually died from blood loss and infection. In 1854, dentist William T.J. Morgan used a dethol ether while removing a facial tumor. This revolutionized anesthesia through medical procedures, and it became widely popular in Europe. And more specifically, so it became more popular within the wealthy upper class. Anesthesia had gained popularity for childbirth and cesarean sections, offering women relief from excruciating pain. So this was a time where anesthesia was not a thing, and these surgeons were actually compared to butchers because they were based on their efficiency was based on how quickly they could get their patient through the procedure. So the common people didn't think that they were any better than a butcher. So while the anesthesia was offering relief from excruciating pain, it also reduced the risk of shock, which was actually another factor that was contributing to post-operative mortality. By 1876, the idea of a hysterectomy was introduced. This was introduced by the Italian professor Eduardo Porro, who believed that this would prevent hemorrhaging and systemic infections. And a hysterectomy is essentially removing the entire uterus. In 1882, Max Zollner declared for uterine sutures, and this led to a practical evolution. He advocated for the silver wire sutures, which was invented by an American 19th century gynecologist, J. Myron Sims. These sutures were originally created for vaginal tearing. As the procedure became safer to accomplish, the protocol for this C-section began to change. Surgeons insisted that if a woman was awake and oriented during labor, that it would be much more safer and much more guaranteed that she would be alive after the procedure. So this expanded the patient population for C-sections and reduced the infant and women mortality rates. By 1925, medical professionals began to place focus on the incision of the uterus. So they started experimenting where the incision would be made. They started using horizontal cuts in the lower part of the uterus, and this actually reduced infection and reduced the chance of the uterus tearing in future pregnancies. So in conclusion, the evolution of the C-section has been significant with advancements like surgical techniques, safety, and patient care. Today, it is a critical part of labor and delivery, with about the population being 32 to 33% of all births, leading to a C-section. Now, with advancements like the cesarean C-section, it is under concern for unnecessary and overuse in delivery.